Mussolini's adored daughter, Edda. Ciano hero-worshipped Mussolini, imitating his gestures, his uniforms, and his speech. And he briefed journalists that Hitler was a madman, hell-bent on world war. However, it was not Hitler, but Mussolini who would take the first steps to war. In 1935, his fascist forces invaded Ethiopia, Africa's last independent nation. The Italian invasion force was 600,000 strong. Among them was Mussolini's son-in-law, Galeazzo Ciano. He took part in bombing raids on civilians and proudly boasted,
"We have carried out a slaughter."
The way that Mussolini dealt with the Ethiopian question, I think, shows just how calculated and ruthless the man really was.
The Ethiopians fought back desperately.
So then the order was issued by Mussolini in December 1935 to make widespread use of chemical weapons, mustard gas and phosgene, and to use terror tactics en masse.
The Italians even deliberately bombed 19 Red Cross hospitals. Over 250,000 Ethiopians were killed in the fighting.
For a long time, people have tried to conceal that the Ethiopian War and other forms of fascist colonial repression used such ruthless methods. Today, we know this for certain. And I think this has given us more evidence to disprove those who now present fascism as a benevolent, patriotic dictatorship that was polluted and led astray only by the alliance with Germany.
Ethiopia wasn't just about the Italians conquering Ethiopia, it was about them taking on the international order. It was about challenging the predominant Mediterranean powers, the British and the French, for eventual control. That battle, that route to global war, started really in Europe with the Ethiopian crisis of 1935.
Mussolini's aggressive foreign policy was hugely popular at home, but poisoned relations with Britain and France. As European tensions increased, Mussolini promoted Ciano to the key post of Foreign Secretary. But the more time Ciano spent with the Nazis, the more he feared for Italy's future. Ciano started to keep a secret diary, which survives as one of the most remarkable insider accounts in 20th century history. One of the first entries describes Mussolini's visit to Hitler in Berlin in 1937.
Mussolini captured crowds with his magnetism, his voice, and his impetuous youthfulness. Will the solidarity of the regimes be sufficient to keep two nations whose race, culture, religion, and tastes are exact opposites really together?
Mussolini was captivated by Hitler's fearless ambition, but wary of his increasing power. Only months after the Berlin visit, the German leader annexed Italy's neighbor Austria. Now in 1938, Hitler gave Czechoslovakia an ultimatum: give up the German-speaking provinces of Sudetenland or face invasion. Hitler's expansionist intentions were becoming clear. Ciano lamented.
Naturally, the objective will be to destroy Czechoslovakia completely. It is war. God protect Italy and the Duce.
Europe held its breath. But at the last moment, Britain begged Mussolini to try to delay the German ultimatum by 24 hours. Hitler told Mussolini he wanted all of the Sudetenland. At the Munich conference, Mussolini presented Hitler's plan as his own. All the leaders signed the Munich agreement that gave Germany the Sudetenland. In return, Hitler promised this was his last territorial demand in Europe. Appeasement had averted the war. For now.
Mussolini won great respect abroad and great popularity at home because he appeared as the peacemaker. But there's a very funny thing about this, that